Hey everybody, Jack Hammer here. Wanted to come on and talk a little bit of 49ers roster and potential moves that they can make. You look back at what the Los Angeles Rams did last season. Right at the trade deadline, they went out and picked up Odell Beckham Jr., really added something to their wide receiver room. Then at the end of the season, they noticed that they had a need at safety and they went out and picked up Eric Weddle. You look back at those two moves, and I think it's pretty safe to say that the Rams don't make the Super Bowl, beat the 49ers to get to the Super Bowl and then win the Super Bowl if they didn't have Odell Beckham Jr. and Eric Weddle on their roster. Those were two huge acquisitions that they made late in the season. You look at the 49ers right now with where they are, they've been similar. They've made moves already similar to what the Rams did in the at least at the trade deadline with the acquisition of Christian McCaffrey. That was a terrific move for the 49ers. I think really helps them out, but I don't think they're done yet, or at least I don't think they should be done yet. They still have about $6.12 million in cap space available. And here's some names that I think that they should add to the roster, which would really help them out down the stretch. Number one, Odell Beckham Jr. Talked about him already, but he's the biggest name on the market, and he is somebody that really would help the 49ers with where they are right now. 49ers wide receiver room leads the NFL in drop percentage. They've had 20 drops. One of the highest, like I said, at 7.5% of the passes that come their way are dropped this season. Bringing in Odell Beckham would help in that respect because Beckham's dropped only 3 passes over the last 2 years. So that's a pretty good total right there. In addition, Beckham gives you more of a vertical threat, somebody that would really work well, I think, with Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk in terms of getting the ball down the field. Ayuk and Samuel more a little bit intermediate targets. Maybe with Beckham, you can get him down the field just a little bit more, and that would help to open up the 49ers passing game. They've been looking for that vertical threat. That's why they went out and drafted Danny Gray this season. Gray, though, has been underwhelming so far. He's only played 33 offensive snaps, and he's only had 6 targets, no receptions. So bringing in a guy like Odell Beckham Jr. would definitely help there. Another name at wide receiver would be Will Fuller. I know Fuller has some red flags. He had a PED suspension that wiped out the end of the 2021 season. He also had a thumb injury that sidelined him for the rest of the season in week 4 last year when he was with Miami. So you look at those things, and those are definitely some issues. But this is a guy who was a former first-round pick of the Houston Texans, and he was productive. 5 seasons in Houston, 1 in Miami. Fuller had 213 total receptions. 165 of those receptions resulted in either a first down or a touchdown. You bring in Fuller, you get a guy who has speed and sure hands, which would be a welcome addition to the 49ers offense in their passing game. Let's turn our attention to the defense now, because it's not really all offense for the 49ers where they're struggling. I know their defense has been very good. We look at their numbers, they're top in the league in terms of points allowed, but they have struggled a little bit with injuries, especially in the middle of their defensive line. Javon Kinlaw continues to miss time with a knee injury. He's already been ruled out from Monday's game against the Cardinals in Mexico City. Fellow defensive tackle Eric Armstead also continues to be a question mark as he's trying to recuperate and come back from a foot and ankle injuries. So with those two out, the 49ers have had to turn to several backups to fill the void. Then they've done okay, but they could do better. Sheldon Richardson provides a solid veteran option, and although he's bounced around the league quite a bit, he's been a consistent performer both against the run and with getting after the quarterback. Same with Ndamukong Suh. He's the other defensive tackle that I would have on the list. Suh would help that interior out quite a bit. He recorded 12 sacks for the last 2 seasons with Tampa Bay and has 71 tackles to go with those. At 35, Suh might want to come in and have one final opportunity to chase a ring for the Super Bowl. And the thing with Suh, you bring him in at this point in time, he's missed training camp, and it's just for a few weeks, and he might want to come in and take advantage of that. Bring in Sheldon Richardson and Suh, let them work with Chris Kosarick over the end of the season, and I think it would really help out that interior of the 49ers defensive line. Last but not least, we go to the secondary where you find cornerback Kevin King. San Francisco secondary has suffered a blow when Jason Verrett tore his Achilles tendon in practice last week. Now, I know that Verrett hadn't played any reps, didn't really force any changes into the starting lineup, but adding a veteran to the back end of the 49ers defense would be a positive move. The 49ers secondary was at its best with Deommodore Lenoir playing in the slot. However, Lenoir was forced to move outside when Emmanuel Mosley was lost for the season to his knee injury. As a result, the 49ers now have Jimmy Ward playing in the slot. Ward is a solid safety and currently the best option, The issue there is that Ward struggles to cover receivers from the slot, which limits the coverage options that D'Amico Ryans can employ. Add in a guy like King would allow the Flyers to move Lenore back inside with King coming on onto the field in obvious passing downs. And then they can decide what they want to do at the safety position with Ward from there. So there you have it. Those are 5 players that I think the 49ers can bring in to help their roster here in free agency over the second half of the season. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Keep it locked in here to the channel for 49ers news and updates all the time. Take care, everybody.